Welcome back, fellow soldiers, to a new developers briefing, the developers briefing number 85 that is now following the update number 7, together with the first hotfix that we are getting for some issues that have snuck in together with update number 7. If you have followed my channel, you know that I have made a first part of a video about the patch notes. The second video will follow after this developers briefing. So this video will be first about the developers briefing that followed after update 7 and its hotfix. And then in some days, tomorrow or in 2 days, I will release the second part of the patch notes. So also stay put for that one. Just not enough time and too much stuff coming from the developers. What actually is a very cool thing. But for now, let's have a closer look at what lead developer Max is telling us about the developers' experience with update number 7, how it performed, how it was welcomed by the community, and especially what issues have come up and were recognized by the community and reported, and what they say to it. So I will read to you what developer Max has to say to this. As many people have reported, several significant issues presented themselves immediately once a large number of players joined the game for this new update. While we Q&A each release for weeks, the largest issues normally only present themselves as soon as you start throwing tens of thousands of players at the game. This is always hugely disheartening for us as a team, as we've spent the better part of 6 weeks Q&Aing the game and fixing more than 900 issues to prep the update for launch. As you can imagine, having the work overshadowed by frustrating issues for you all is unideal at best. Fortunately, we've been provided with a huge amount of very useful feedback by you, the community, as well as our brilliant Q&A team who have been able to live test in-game all week. We're also fortunate that our crash uploader has been working perfectly, enabling us to quickly assess the frequency distribution and triage to most common occurring to the least occurring. The whole team has been working overtime on this, as we know how fundamental many of these issues are to a great experience. Now, that pretty much sums up the most part of the issues that were reported by the community when it comes to update number 7. Those were namely the Fps drops that a lot experienced, and also some server crashes or some game crashes that they experienced. And the whole update 7 launch was actually quite overshadowed by this, but as usual, this is an early access game and the developers are working their asses off to get this content to us. So we know that they will fix it and we should just enjoy what we are given. But I think it's still a good thing that players are reporting those issues for the developers to see so they can tackle them. Now let's have a closer look at those two problems, the FPS dips and also the crashes. The developers have managed on zeroing in on what the reason is for those crashes, and they saw that is especially client crashes, and they managed to find about 3 main reasons for those crashes, or could locate where those crashes are coming from, and they're already working on fixing them. They are saying that with hotfix number 1 or version 1 and the upcoming updates, they have a high certainty fix for crash number 1, or labeled crash number 1, that makes up about 28% of all the client crashes. And they also have a speculative fix for crash that is labeled crash number 2, that makes up approximately 40% of the crashes experienced. So if they have a little more time, then I'm pretty sure they are going to fix these. But just so you know, they are on the problem and they've already zeroed in on the main core and they are working on it. Now coming to I think the main problem that players experienced, and that was the FPS drops. Me, myself, I experienced them too when playing on Quarantine map, and they were actually quite incapacitating when playing the game. What was quite interesting was that it happened at the same time to all of my squad mates. So that was what I experienced. Now let's see what Max is saying to the FPS Dips. We are actively investigating a severe FPS drop of approximately 20 to 120 seconds that can happen mid-game on Quarantine. We are looking to see if this is happening elsewhere too. We are confident that we will be able to find and address the issue, but it will require some time and Q&A testing to make sure we understand the problem to its fullest and make sure we don't introduce new bugs and issues upon trying to resolve. Now, as you can see from the response that developer Max is giving us in the developers briefing, it quite seems like it could be that it is because so many players are active at once. When the developers are working on the update, they are testing it, of course, with test players, but they don't have that amount of traffic that they get when the update launches with all the players that want to play. So they were able to find that there is FPS drops happening mid-game on Quarantine that lasts 20 to 120 seconds. That's how far they are right now with the problem. I'm pretty sure they are going to invest some good time in it, and I hope they can solve that problem fast. But just so you know, they are also working on that problem too, and you weren't the only one experiencing that. Coming to a topic that we haven't spoken of that often, and that is the roadmap that the Hell Let Loose developers team offers us to have a look at what is coming for us when it is coming for us too. And they said that due to the hotfix and also the patching of update number 7, they'll have to reschedule a little bit of that roadmap, and they will launch a new roadmap for us to see where things are going and when they are coming for us, just to let the player base know that they are working on that too, but that the hot fixes and also the patches of update number 7 will also take some time, so they'll have to reschedule a little bit concerning the other plans that are on the roadmap. All in all, I think the update number 7 was a great one, even though it brought some smaller issues or a little bit bigger issues with it. But when looking at the amount of content that was added to Hell Let Loose with the update number 7, that is especially the new animation system, also new map and so on, new sounds, etc. So that's just a huge package that was released to us, that was released by the developers. And of course, the higher the amount of new stuff is, the more issues will pop up. So I think that's just a natural thing to happen and also part of a natural process in developing a game. And to round things up and to end this developers briefing, the devs are also talking a bit about the ongoing map rework that they are still doing next to the updates that they bring to us of the older maps that we already were able to experience. They are still doing reworks on them, and in this developers briefing they are sharing with us some of the updated tactical maps. So if you are looking now at the screen, you are able to see the new tactical maps for the maps Quarantine, Foy, Omaha Beach and also Hurtgen Forest that have been reworked and that I will now let speak for themselves. And I'm going to finish with a little tip here. The developers have announced that it is free to play this weekend. So if you are interested in Hell Let Loose and haven't yet decided if you want to buy it, have a look at Hell Let Loose. It's a free weekend now, so get into it. And as always, I'm pretty sure we're gonna see each other on the battlefield.